Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome back. Last week we were on the subject of bling, and I was showing you how I apply flat back crystals onto the nails. We talked about products and what techniques to keep in mind to really make sure that we're sealing the crystals in without covering them completely, so that we can maximize the wear and make sure that that bling is lasting us for weeks at a time. We're going to actually continue on the bling subject this week, and I'm going to be showing you how I apply pointed back crystals onto the nails. So the pointed back crystals are used for clusters. These are crystals that are sticking out of the nail, literally. Some of my clients like to call them a disco ball, but it's very glitzy and glamorous and sparkling. We absolutely love it. But it does stick out of the nail. They are bigger crystals, and a lot of people tend to have a lot of difficulty when it comes to putting them on and keeping them on. With the same products and similar techniques that you already learned last week, let's get into the bling work, and I'm gonna show you how to make this cluster happen. It's always good to make sure that you have some kind of top coat over the color before you're putting on your actual bling. Because you want to buff it, you want to make sure that you have a really good, clean, kind of rough surface, not so smooth. That way you have better adhesion of the product. And if you don't have a top coat over it, then you might actually buff away some of the color. So I'm gonna put a nice big cluster, so I definitely need to make sure that I have a good dab of my bling stick-on product. And then I'm going to place my Swarovski. I like making sure that I kind of move this crystal around and get that product all around the edges. When using stones that are not the same size or shape, you definitely want to make sure that you don't leave any jagged edges kind of popping out. And I have a couple here, but I already have in mind that I'm going to fill them in. So as I'm organizing it, I'm already visualizing what I'll be inputting in those little spaces to even it out and make sure that I don't have anything that's gonna make it easy for things to get caught in there. I'm pretty happy with the way I've positioned it here. I'm gonna put a little something down there, a little something here on the bottom, a little something at the top. With a striper brush, I'm just going to softly move the excess gel product around the stones to already start that anchoring in process. I'm not gonna worry too much about trying to get it all sealed in this one shot, but I don't want any excess bulging up and drying like that, because then it'll get in the way of other things that I'll put in those spaces. I'm going to flash cure that just for a second or two. I just don't want the stones to move as I'm working with the rest of it. Another really important thing to keep in mind, especially when you're using big clusters, is that you don't want to block too much right away. Even if you have the opportunity to go ahead and start putting stones or little studs anywhere of those crevices, you really don't want to, because then you're going to block the inside of that gel in the middle of that cluster. You're going to block that from being able to properly cure, which could affect the overall longevity of the cluster itself. And we want these clusters to stay on until we're ready to take them off. I keep them on, normally my nails I keep on for 4 to 5 weeks. My clusters are always intact, so I do take my time, but I ensure that not only are we using beautiful, brilliant crystals like Swarovski, but we're making sure that they're put on properly, so the manicure and the stones last you as long as you need it to. So I'm just gonna go ahead and finish working here a little bit. And before I keep adding more, I need to make sure that all of these stones are nice and glued together, I guess you could say. Make sure to go all around the stones. Since I only work with natural nails, it is possible that some nail beds might be a little soft or a little too flexible. And when you're putting bling on the nail, the more soft or flexible the base is, the higher chance it is of bending and cracking and kind of scooting that gem out of its place. So if this is the case, then I would definitely recommend applying a layer of overlay to the nail before putting on the bling. It's definitely going to help strengthen the nail and give it a little bit more stability and support so that you don't have so much flexibility where the crystals are going to be. Given each individual one of these stones a really nice good seal and adhesion to the base. Make sure that there's no clumped up gel, because remember, we need to put things in those little spaces and we don't want gel to harden and bulge out, because then we won't be able to really tuck anything in there neatly. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to go ahead and cure for the full 30 seconds. Okay, now we are ready to finish this cluster up. Smooth out those edges that we have sticking out there from the different sizes. Make it all nice and one, and give this a little more life. And with my same gem gel, I'm just gonna go ahead and re-stick all of these surfaces.
Get you out of my mind. It's like I feel it for the first time. Been thinking about you all night. I've been searching for this all my life. You're just my type. I've been looking for a boy who can treat me right. Your dark hair with those eyes so bright. They look into my soul and it sparks my life. Can I take you there? Like it was the first time, do you remember? Can I take you there? Back to when we felt like this was forever. Can I take you there? Like it was the first time, do you remember? Can I take you there? You're all I need. Can I take you there? Can I take you there? Keep telling me it's alright. How could I be so blind? I've been searching for this all my life. You're just my type. I've been looking for a boy who can treat me right. Your dark hair with those eyes so bright. They look into my soul and it sparks my life. Can I take you there? Like it was the first time, do you remember? Can I take you there? Back to when we felt like this was forever. Can I take you there? Like it was the first time, do you remember? Can I take you there? You're all I need. Can I take you there? Can I take you there?
Now just go through with a really saturated pad that has alcohol, and wiping the stones off. Sometimes a little bit of stringy gel will go over, and I don't want that to cure over the stone. So I'm really happy with the way that is sealed. We're gonna go ahead and put that in and cure it. And when you have your hand or your client's hand, you want to make sure that they are rotating their hand inside the light. that they're moving it up and down, moving it left and right to make sure that the light's penetrating throughout the entire crystal. And when in doubt, have them do it a couple of times just to really make sure that the light's getting in there. Now that my cluster is secured, I need to go ahead and finish it up with the top coat. I'm using a glossy no wipe top coat. And for this particular step, when finishing off the nail and putting the top coat around the crystal, I really do like using the no wipe top coat, my Akzentz Shine On, mostly because it's very nice and thick. I'm able to smooth over. I'm able to smooth over any of the ridges from the gel product that I use to stick my crystals, my Schtik. I love saying that. Schtik. But I'll go through with my striper brush. We don't want to coat the crystals with the top coat. You never want to coat your crystals unless you're with a client who is a picker and they insist on keeping the stones super flat and not having anything pop through. That would be the only time that I would go over and coat the crystals, but then we'd be using just the flat stones for that. We still want to make sure that we seal all around the edge because we don't want our product lifting in the next few weeks. And anywhere that you went with your bling Schtik product, normally they are not really shiny when you wipe it off. So anywhere that I went with the product, I'm going to go over with the top coat, and I'll be careful to, again, not coat the crystals and only coat the areas that have the gel product, which will be all along the crevices. Sometimes I'll hold it upside down just to make sure that it's not running all the way to the base. And there we have it. Now this is a no wipe top coat, but I still go with an alcohol cloth and wipe it because I have probably a little bit of the wax residue from my crystal tool. I want to make sure that those are all nice and clean. Might as well wipe the rest. Now I've totally transformed my manicure and brought it up to my tati standards because I always have clusters on my nails. It's just so cute and so fun. I love it. When am I not obsessed? Oh my gosh, I wish you guys could totally see how this is reflecting right now. Super pretty. Ooh, I hope you guys love it. So there we have it, everyone. A super beautiful and brilliant crystal cluster. I have said it many times before. I wear my manicures for anywhere from 4 to 5 weeks. My manis are always perfect. My crystals are always on and intact, and they stay shiny and brilliant throughout. But that's why I use Swarovski Crystals, because they stay beautiful. And the product, the Ugly Duckling Schtik Gel. I'm telling you that that is the one magic tool and the one thing that's made a difference for me in the last few years that I've been working with crystals on nails. Using the same technique, no other product is going to last you as long as this does. So it's definitely a key. Make sure that you guys are checking it out. Again, I'm not affiliated or sponsored or have anything to do with the company. It's just an amazing product, and it definitely took me a long time to find it. So I'm hoping to help a couple people out and save a little bit of time. So before you exit out, everyone, make sure you've liked and subscribed down below. And if you haven't already followed me on Instagram, please do. Thank you again, everyone, for tuning in, and I'm going to see you next week with some more information.